City volunteers in Malaysia inspire people's kind thoughts in helping Indonesian earthquake survivors. The First Lady of Paraguay visits Tzu Chi to learn about volunteer operation mechanism. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Su. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi volunteers continue to care for the Indonesia earthquake survivors. In addition to caring for the injured patients in Makassar, the volunteers also distributed financial assistance to the affected residents. In Palu, the volunteers will visit the temporary shelters every day to prepare more than 1,000 hot meals.
Simple wooden boards plus plastic canvases. This is what the shelters look like where the earthquake survivors are temporarily living. Although it is simple, the place is actually filled with laughter.
Adiknya siapa namanya?
Their home collapsed due to the liquefaction of the land. At that time, the mother was very far along her pregnancy. After the earthquake, the grandmother rushed over, thinking that she was never going to see the family again.
Although a bit injured, the child was born smoothly. When I went in, my son-in-law told me that the boy was born. I immediately held my grandson in my arms and thanked God for protecting my family.
Sudah selamat cucuku, kasihan. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin.
The whole family escaped just in time, and the mother was also successful in giving birth to her son. For them, this is such a blessing from above, even if they are left with nothing. Tzu Chi volunteers visited the family and saw that there wasn't even a floor mat for them to sit on. Therefore, they quickly got one for them, and the children were more than ecstatic.
I'm very happy to receive this type of assistance. We have nothing left other than the clothes of my back.
Also, the hot meals that Tzu Chi volunteers send every day is their most abundant meal. In the hardest hit area of Palu, one can now eat well and live with a peace of mind. This is the only hope that the survivors are grabbing onto at the moment.
I can't show any sad emotions. Although I saw their sadness and sorrow, I can only encourage them to take care of their own body, mind, and soul first.
Every distribution, the volunteers have to hold back their tears. It's with great hope that they will be able to smile more and for a longer period of time.
Also to support Indonesian earthquake survivors, Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter held an activity to inspire people's compassion. Staff members of Tzu Chi's 4 missions took the lead to spread their love.
To help Indonesian earthquake survivors, Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter launched an activity to inspire people's compassion. Staff members from all 4 Tzu Chi missions took the lead to participate.
Tzu Chi's 4 major missions, including charity, medicine, education, and humanistic culture, we will send all our 4 staff members love to Indonesia.
By visiting the Dialysis Center, Jinsi Ho Kindergarten, and Jinsi Books and Cafe, the volunteers presented the opportunity for everyone to do a good deed for the disaster-stricken areas.
I hope to turn my kindness into tangible blessings and then pass it on to everyone.
We just give them what we can give. Even we cannot go there, so we still can send our love to them. Yeah.
We all hope to send our love to Indonesia. We also hope that our little contributions can accumulate into something bigger for the affected residents.
Meanwhile, volunteers at the Tzu Chi Malacca chapter took the opportunity to share the current situation in Indonesia through a film with the public. Many brought their own bamboo coin banks to take part in the giving process. Lia Mo Lie, who was a Tzu Chi Care recipient, also brought her coin bank to spread the love.
When this type of disaster happens, we should all do our best to help out. It doesn't matter in what way. Even though I live a difficult life, I can still do everything within my abilities to help.
People who have a blissful life should work together to help those who are less fortunate.
In a related story, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taiwan held an event to pray for the quake survivors in Indonesia. Among those who were present was the first Tzu Chi volunteer in Taiwan. Meanwhile, to thank people in Taiwan for caring about earthquake-affected residents in Indonesia, some Indonesian students in Hualien also sang for everyone. Singing an Indonesian folk song, these Indonesian students want to express the deepest gratitude to the people here. The coin banks on the table are not just heavy, but loaded with people's love and best wishes.
All these senior Tzu Chi volunteers are carrying out Tzu Chi's work diligently. We are undergoing volunteer training this year, and we want to learn from them.
92-year-old Huang Yunü is the first volunteer in Taidong. She's the first person who brought her coin bank today.
Let's follow Dharma Master Zheng Yan closely, okay?
Her son has also become the first Tzu Chi volunteer in Jiayi. The mother-son duo are united at this event.
I want to thank my mother and father. In addition, I'm grateful to Master Zheng Yan for giving us the opportunity to create blessings. I feel that Tzu Chi volunteers are like one big family.
Tzu Chi volunteers around the world are praying for the earthquake survivors in Indonesia. In Taiwan, Indonesian students have felt how everyone cares about their fellow countrymen. In Nantou, Taiwan, there's a chocolate shop owner who's a Tzu Chi volunteer. More than 10 years ago, his son passed away in an accident. Despite this, he keeps the promise he made with his son to help people in need. To support the Indonesian earthquake survivors, he led his employees to carry out the acts of giving.
The shop owner, Mr. Mao, has operated the shop for more than 10 years now. He often visits his shop to talk with customers. In the eyes of his employees, he is a passionate person who enjoys helping others.
We should all take action to care for the people who are in need. Since Tzu Chi has already mobilized to help, I will follow their lead to spread more love.
Indonesia was devastated after the powerful earthquake. Knowing that Tzu Chi is inspiring people's compassion and kindness, he fully supports it.
I do what I can to help based on my abilities.
10 years ago, his son passed away in an accident. To this day, he does not forget about the promise he made with his son about helping others.
Although I'm still mourning the loss of my son, I actively decide to turn sadness into something positive, so that my son can continue the cycle of great love on the other side.
Everyone has a seed of goodness in their heart, but some people may have forgotten about it over time. With the guidance of our boss, we realized that taking part in charitable events is a very natural thing for us to all do.
Mr. Mao said that the purpose of his business is to share happiness and love. People who are able to give are those who are the most blessed in life.
The First Lady of Paraguay recently took the opportunity to visit Tzu Chi's Humanitarian and Culture Center to understand how Tzu Chi operates. She said that since she wants to help underprivileged children and women in Paraguay, she hopes to establish a similar volunteer operating system. The First Lady of Paraguay, Silvana Lopez Moreira, is having a tour of Tzu Chi's Humanitarian and Culture Center. Upon getting the gift, clothing made from recycled PET bottles from DaAi TV's general manager, Moreira immediately tries it on. The purpose of her visit is to learn how to set up a volunteer system.
I've explained to her that Tzu Chi volunteers not only vow to help those in need, they also follow a well-organized system. Therefore, she wants to understand how the volunteer mechanism operates.
Moreira also cares about the TV program topics because her goal is to help underprivileged children and women in Paraguay.
I have seen how everyone works together wholeheartedly. We've also seen how Tzu Chi volunteers are helping people in need in different parts of the world. Your love has spread worldwide.
Marera has also given a handmade gift to DaAi TV to express her gratitude for having this opportunity to learn about Tzu Chi. The second National Compassion and Technology Innovation Competition's final round recently took place at the Tzu Chi University of Science and Technology. This year, the theme of compassionate technology in the realms of charity or medical services was really inspiring.
Inspired by the phenomenon of nature, the teams from 3 universities all saw the destruction of chemical pesticides on the current environment. Based on air and gas particles, they have developed natural fertilizer manufacturing machines. It's both eco-friendly and can increase grain yield.
The whole concept behind compassionate technology is to be both eco-friendly and boosting the economy. This is completely in line with what our entire team believes a product should be.
Combining the current 3D printing technology, it's possible to help patients with spinal cord injuries who have lost their gripping abilities regain some basic functions. The students use environmental friendly materials to help Mother Earth and at the same time help patients regain their confidence in life.
Creativity needs a platform and opportunities in order for it to manifest itself. We hope through occasions like this, the youth's inventiveness can be combined with charity work for the society.
When the rescue package is spread out, it becomes an immediate life-saving stretcher. It can easily be carried in any critical situation. Another example is the disaster relief helmets that are made from recycled heat-resistant PC materials. The youth's creativity is endless, and the potential of compassionate technology is the best way for them to give back to society.
It recently rained heavily in Kaohsiung, leading to serious leaks in a townhouse in Daliao. Since the homeowner suffers from mobility issues, he was unable to clean up the house himself. Fortunately, Tzu Chi volunteers worked together to clean up his home, providing a comfortable living environment for him. Upon entering the house, the volunteers see a basin filled with leak water. There's also water all over the floor, emanating a foul smell. After pouring out the water, they immediately ask the homeowner about the current conditions of the house.
It gets flooded whenever it rains. There's still water inside. The furniture has been damaged, and there's nothing I can do about it.
Mr. Zheng, who lives alone, suffers from mobility issues. Whenever it rains in Kaohsiung, his house gets flooded, and he's not able to deal with the situation. After turning to the Social Affairs Bureau for help, he received assistance from the Tzu Chi volunteers.
The homeowner is afraid that he might contract dengue fever. Therefore, the volunteers work together to help him. The more people, faster the work.
However, in this 2-story townhouse, the staircases are too narrow. The volunteers could not move the damaged furniture downstairs. In the end, they decided to move it out from the window and throwing it directly toward the first floor. After removing the furniture, they see the floors with multiple stains. The other room is also flooded with filthy water. The volunteers scoop out the dirty water and finally clean up the floors. They also pull out the weeds in the alleyways behind the house to eliminate any possible mosquito breeding areas. With their hard work, the homeowner finally has a comfortable living environment again. When we love others with a sincere heart, it makes all the difference in the world. For Melba and her daughter, who is constantly in and out of the hospital, every little caring gesture from the Tzu Chi volunteers is another boost of support. The mother-daughter duo has lived in Fresno for the past 30 years. Melba is very grateful for the continuous care from the volunteers.
My name is Melba. I was born in El Salvador, and I've lived in Fresno for 30 years. It's really difficult when you arrive in this country and you have no one. The organization also helps financially, and because I have a little daughter who's in the hospital all the time, she said maybe I could fill out an application. They've helped me a lot, not only spiritually, because they treat you like family. They help you economically, spiritually, and they give you support. Like when I had surgery, they knew and brought me flowers. I told them thank you. I've been sick for a year. No one else gave me flowers.
You better listen to your doctor. Remember when that God was telling you that your daughter had a big mission in life. And so the way God was explaining to you that God and Buddha are all the same. You know why he said that in that way? Because I believe in Buddha. I mean, it doesn't mean that I don't believe that there's a God, you know, but both of them are all wanted.
There's one.
Yeah, both of them have the same purpose. The purpose is to love everybody, you know, as the same thing like God. God loved human being, love everybody. They don't want people to fight with each other. Just like our Buddha. Our Buddha always said, have to have compassion, have to have your kindness. You know, that's the most important thing everybody could do. In this small town, we still could do something good for other people. It doesn't matter, you don't have to be in a big city or, you know, LA or San Francisco. I know those people have more money, more power, more whatever. But as you could see, as we visited those families, everyone knows that our sincerity, our heart, like Master always say, sincerity, as long as our heart is sincere, that is love to them.
Es algo que está dentro de mí.
There's something within me that has always held the same beliefs. I never knew that anything like this organization existed, but I believe it's something I like to be a part of.
But they're very grateful already. And I feel it. Every time I go and see them, they always feel like, oh, what could I do?
Tzu Chi. In Taiwan, the Council of Agriculture is thinking about allowing young people from Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, and Thailand to work in farming villages in Taiwan during their holidays. Many are coming to Taiwan using the 180-day tourist visas, but they're not permitted to work during this period of time. Let's check out the in-depth report on this fast-growing problem.
The Ministry of Transportation and Communications announced that there were over 10.73 million visitors to Taiwan in 2017. However, the number of tourists at main tourist attractions around Taiwan has declined dramatically. These figures are inconsistent with the experience of those involved in tourism, leading some to believe that many of these visitors are actually coming to work in Taiwan. Many are now beginning to investigate just where they are going. Under the hot sun, farmers wear the traditional doli hat and floral patterned clothes at this wild lotus pond. Because they perform different duties, men and women are divided into different sides of the pond, with some wearing wetsuits.
It grows quite densely. We have to be careful when we pull it out, otherwise it will break.
Picking these roots, which are more than 100 centimeters long, requires lots of skill. Later, they need to be forcefully rinsed in the pond.
It can be as heavy as 7 or 8 kilograms. This is because they are full of water. That's why they are so heavy.
After being pulled out, the leaves and roots need to be cut. Female workers on the other side of the pond wear dry suits and do this work. They also cut the head and clean it while checking the stem length. The job requires one to soak in the water all day and also endure the heat of the sun in the summer. In the winter, there is a biting cold wind, and the harvesting work is extremely heavy, leading to many other problems.
Including going back and washing, it's almost more than 10 hours soaking in water. That's right, we spend more than 10 hours in the water. The most painful period is the winter because there's no workers, so we have to go into this freezing pond. Our hands and feet get really numb.
The owner of the farm needs to go into the pond due to the lack of workers. They also have to endure the pain of farming work, which illustrates the resilience of the Hakka people. Although it is hard to find a job, few people want to do this work.
Now it's even hard to recruit foreign spouses because their lives have already improved and they would rather go to the factory and earn a lower salary because the work is easier.
This external labor force that had been relied upon has gradually decreased over the past few years.
Honestly speaking, over these past few years, if there weren't any foreign spouses, Mainong agriculture won't be so prosperous or thriving.
Mainong has a population of 500 foreign spouses. Today in this lotus pond, there are 2 new immigrants who have settled in Mainong.
Over here, the salary is higher, probably twice as much as what I earned in Indonesia.
While they can work legally here, many lotus ponds are relying on new immigrants' family relationships to find workers. In 2016, the Immigration Department seized 8 illegal Vietnamese workers in Mainong who overstayed their visas and were working illegally. They are almost all parents or relatives of new immigrants. Many of them came to see relatives or do sightseeing. They come on 1-month tourist visas, and when they expire, they return to Vietnam for 1 day, and then immediately fly back to Taiwan. The roots and leaves that have just been cut during the washing process in this wild lotus pond are not wasted. They are seedlings that will later be planted.
Now there are only 5 people left in Mainong who can do this planting work.
Of the 3 grandmothers, the oldest is already 85 years old. Wild lotus seedlings have to be planted into the mud, with many people needing to work backwards. This kind of work is not complicated, but it can be very hard and labor-intensive. The whole process can take 3 hours, and boots are inconvenient as one has to be barefoot.
No, you can't wear boots. You can't wear them because you have to go backwards. If you step on a nail or something, you can't work for half a month. Sometimes we may almost step on a snail.
This difficult physical labor isn't compensated very well, as the average daily salary is just $30 US. While the salary is sufficient now, this may not be the case soon due to a number of factors.
We're competing against Vietnamese workers. Wherever we go, they're also there. The bosses know they're cheaper, so they frequently hire them.
Illegal foreign workers may provide cheap labor so that domestic workers can't compete. When it comes to plowing, harvesting, cleaning, as well as baling, all of this work related to wild lotus ponds relies on human labor. And because it is harvested throughout the year, there always seems to be a shortage of workers. While the government has not yet opened agriculture, the actual situation is quite different, as much of Mainong agriculture is dependent on foreign workers.
Nearly 1,000 people have participated in a running activity held by Tzu Chi youth basketball teams in Banqiao. Since it was held on a holiday, many participants came with their families and were able to enjoy some quality time with their loved ones. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.